Berdeng lupa na kay ganda, ngiti ng mga bulaklak, mga pusong puno ng galak. Lumipas ang mga araw, pananaw tila'y natuhunaw, kasakit may niyakap, kahit mga puno'y umiiyak. Buksan mo ang iyong mata at tingnan mo ang panagholding na. Kagubat ay lumuluha, wag mo sana itatuwa. Sige na, humayo ka, oras na pinag-ibig. Sige na, humayo ka, oras na pinag-ibigin siya. Bigyang pansin ang mundo natin, kalikasan ay malin. Pakinggan huni ng ibon, may ngiti sa gabi't hapon. Sa tulong ng Panginoon, halina tayo'y
Magandang hapon mga kaibigan, magagabi na, madilim na, medyo maulan. Kamusta naman po kayo dyan? I hope na ang ating microphone ay okay naman sapagkat minsan ay naglolo ko mga kaibigan. So magandang hapon po, yes! Isa naman ang Friday afternoon. Mag-weekend na naman at malapit na rin matapos ang October. At by November mga kaibigan, November 8 to 16, no? Ay magaganap na ang COP27. Yan, ito ang Conference of Parties. Diyan naman gaganapin ito sa Egypt, no? So sa ika-27 na pagkakataon ay magaganap itong tinatawag natin na COP o Conference of Parties. So ano ba, may mangyayari na ba talaga dyan sa COP na yan? Hindi natin alam sapagkat napakatagal na nila nag-uusap. Sabi nga ni Greta Thunberg, blah, 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 blah. Ayan. So, congratulations, ladies and gentlemen, to the Green Convergence who have recently conducted ngayon lang araw na ito ang kanilang tamayan forum at pinag-uusapan yung peatlands. Aba, meron palang peatlands na tinatawag. Sa Tagalog daw ay ibig sabihin ay parang kumunoy. Pero ito ay isang bahagi ng marshland na maraming organic material. So, yan, meron dyan sa Lopez Quezon, meron dyan sa Agusan Marsh. So, napakaganda, bago to at isinusulong naman ang proteksyon ng ating mga peatlands. So, mga kaibigan, sa mga gusto magbahagi ng kanilang mga saloobin tungkol sa climate change, tungkol sa IPCC report, tungkol sa COP27, o gusto mo magpa-shoutout, okay na okay po yan, magpa-shoutout dito sa ating show na Boses ng Kalikasan. At siyempre mga kaibigan, bago tayo magpatuloy, pasalamatan muna natin. Tayo po ay live via Twitter sa David D'Angelo PH. Live din tayo sa ating YouTube channel, ang D'Angelo Speaks. And we are also broadcasted live via various Facebook live broadcast, TVC Channel 8, Global TV Network, ang Wazzup Pilipinas, S2E Philippines, and of course, ako at ang Kalikasan TV at siyempre Action Kalikasan. Ngayon mga kaibigan, pasalamatan muna natin ang ating mga broadcast partners. Muna natin sa Wazzup Pilipinas.
Global TV Network.
Pinoy ako at kayo ang kakampi ko. Ito ang TVC8.
Ayan mga kaibigan, maraming salamat sa ating magigiting na sponsors na talaga namang live na live din tayo sa kanilang mga channels. At ladies and gentlemen, ngayon ang topic natin ay tungkol sa Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. Ito po yung latest na nirelease nilang video tungkol sa kanilang IPCC report. At dito ay pag-uusapan natin, malalaman natin ano ba yung status ng mitigation, bakit ba nangyayari ito, ano ang kinalaman no ng mga tao, no? What's the significance of carbon emissions caused by humans to the climate crisis. So panoorin natin ito para higit pa nating malaman kung ano na nga ba ang estado ng climate change. At later on, pag-uusapan natin ano ba yung COP27 or the Conference of Parties na mangyayari naman dyan sa Egypt. Ito, panoorin natin mga kaibigan.
Global greenhouse gas emissions from human activities are at their highest levels in human history. But there is increasing evidence of climate action, and the average annual rate of growth in global emissions has slowed in the last decade. The next few years are critical. Without immediate and deep emissions reductions in all sectors, limiting warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius will be beyond reach. The IPCC's latest report on climate change mitigation shows that there are options available in every sector that can at least halve emissions by 2030.
What the report shows that if we carry on as we are, we won't be able to limit global warming to 2 degrees, never mind 1.5. But we do find signs of progress. I mean, half the world's emissions are now covered by climate laws and policies. And we're seeing the falling cost of renewable energy and big take-ups. It is beginning to make a difference. So if we look over all the sectors that we cover in the report, we can find options everywhere for reducing emissions, both by technology and by behavioral change. And when you add it all up, you could see the capacity to cut emissions by about a half by 2030, but it would need very prompt and ambitious action for that to actually happen.
The energy sector accounts for about 1/3 of all emissions. An increasing range of policies and laws have enhanced energy efficiency. And since 2010, there have been sustained decreases in cost with reductions of 85% for solar energy and batteries and 55% for wind power. Major transitions are required in this sector to reduce emissions.
To reduce greenhouse gas emissions in the energy system, major changes are needed. We would use far less fossil fuel, meaning that fossil fuels remain unburned. Instead, we would use low-emission energy sources such as wind and solar, and alternative energy carriers such as hydrogen and sustainable biofuels. Moreover, we would use far less energy than today by improving energy efficiency and promoting energy conservation.
Agriculture, forestry, and other land use contribute just over 1/5 of greenhouse gas emissions. This sector can not only provide large-scale greenhouse gas emissions reductions, but can also remove and store carbon dioxide at scale.
This report shows that to avoid climate change, we have to conserve ecosystem and improve food system. We have to restore, protect, and sustainably manage carbon-rich ecosystem like forest and grassland, and we have to reduce greenhouse gas intensity of food production system. But also, we have to curb and reduce food waste and loss and shift to more sustainable and healthy diets. All these options can mitigate 8 to 14 gigatons of CO2 per year from now up to 2050 at relatively low cost.
This is the first IPCC assessment to include a chapter on demand services and social aspects of mitigation, looking at how a combination of effective policies, improved infrastructure and technologies leading to behavioral change has the potential to enable emissions reductions.
This report shows for the first time the importance of the social aspects of demand and the huge potential it provides in reducing emissions. It is clear now that human behavior is the center of the problem and also the solution if associated with relevant policies, adapted infrastructures, and if technologies are available. Climate change affects everybody, but 10% of the richest people are responsible of 40% of the emissions. So they need to question their lifestyles, cultural norms, and eventually change them.
Cities and other urban areas where most of the world's population lives are responsible for more than 2/3 of global greenhouse gas emissions, either through the production of goods and services or those that are transported to cities. Buildings also play a crucial role in reducing emissions.
What this assessment shows is that both the building sector and cities can go to net zero carbon dioxide emissions towards the middle of the century. Nevertheless, the next decade is critical because both of these involve infrastructure that will commit us to emitting in certain ways. In cities, the most important areas of action are designing cities better to co-locate jobs and homes together, and also to enable better transportation systems where we actually can perhaps do active transport, as well as electrification, and finally removing and storing carbon dioxide in the urban environment, for example, in trees and parks. Buildings can also help. For example, we show that in most climates by today, we can do net zero energy and net zero carbon buildings. In developed part of the world, retrofit is more important, whereas in developing countries, it is more important to focus on appliances and supplying the energy in clean ways, for example, through clean electricity.
The ways that we use transport, whether for travel or to transport goods, offers substantial potential for emissions reductions. But this depends on decarbonizing the power sector. Electric vehicles combined with low or zero emissions electricity offer the greatest potential, and advances in battery technologies could assist in the electrification of trucks. For shipping and aviation, which are harder to decarbonize, low-emission hydrogen and biofuels offer alternatives to going electric. These options, combined with solutions in other areas, like cities and reducing demand, offer us a way forward in the transport sector. 1/4 of global emissions comes from the industry sector, where achieving net zero is challenging. Getting there would require new production processes and using low and zero greenhouse gas electricity, hydrogen, and, where necessary, carbon capture and storage.
産業部門は2000年以降他のどの部門の排出量よりも急速に増加してきていて、間接的な排出量、つまり発電や熱を作る時の排出量などまで含めると全排出量の 34% という主要な排出源です。社会の中で利用している製品の量は1人当たりで見ると一部の先進国では頭打ちになってきましたが、世界的に見ると増えています。産業による生産は今後も増え、排出も増えてしまう可能性があるということです。いかにその排出量を減らすかですが、省エネやエネルギー効率向上は引き続きとても重要ですし、材料の効率的な利用、製品のリユースやリサイクル、あるいは電化や水素の利用、インフラの整備など多岐にわたる努力が必要です。ゼロ排出にする技術は確かに存在していますが、5年から15年の集中的な技術革新、商業化、そして新たな産業発展の政策が必要です。技術開発だけではなく、その新しい社会に合わせた新しい材料の需要、その市場の開発、ガバナンス、あるいは再エネという新しいエネルギー地政学から来る新しいバリューチェーンもあるでしょう。新しい世の中に合わせた新しい産業の構造が必要なのです。
Limiting global temperature rise to 1.5 degrees Celsius will not be possible without carbon dioxide removal. carbon dioxide removal approach can be either natural solution as sequestering and storing carbon on land and ocean, as well as technologies that pour CO2 directly out of the atmosphere. Carbon dioxide removal can counterbalance hard to eliminate emission from aviation and industrial processes. In the long term, scaling up carbon dioxide removal could reverse global warming. However, still investment and research are needed.
The next few years will be critical, but there are ways to improve our chances of success.
With regard to finance, there is a considerable gap between the requirements to respond to climate change and the existing financial flows. Current financial flows are a factor of 3 to 6 lower than the requirements by the year 2030 to limit warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius or 2 degrees Celsius. And this is a signal both for governments and also for the international community with regard to the need to close this gap, which is wider in the case of the developing countries, taking into account the limited capacity they have in terms of finance, in terms of technology, and in terms of institutional capacity. The situation is much more difficult in the case of the less developed countries.
Accelerated climate action is critical to sustainable development. Climate change increasingly threatens the health and livelihoods of people around the globe and the health of our planet. In all countries, actions to limit global warming that result in wider benefits to society can increase the pace, depth, and breadth of emissions reductions.
In this report, we show how mitigation goes hand in hand with achieving many of the Sustainable Development Goals. For example, if we look at the Sustainable Development Goal, green and blue infrastructure, we see that green roofs and facades, networks of parks and open spaces, wetlands and urban agriculture not only absorb and store carbon, but at the same time achieve many other Sustainable Development Goals. They can reduce pressure on urban sewer systems, reduce flood risk and heat island effects, and also deliver health benefits from reduced air pollution.
We have the tools and know-how required to limit warming and secure a livable future. Regulatory and market instruments and policies play a crucial role in strengthening the response. More ambitious emissions reductions require joined-up policymaking across government at different levels and through international cooperation.
The IPCC is the gold standard for climate science. Our reports provide governments and policymakers with the most up-to-date knowledge on climate change that helps inform their decision-making on climate-related policies. This assessment cycle has been the most intensive in IPCC's history, not only due to the high number of IPCC reports, but also because we had to find innovative ways to adapt to the challenges of the pandemic. The pandemic didn't stop the work of IPCC, and together we delivered.
Climate change is the result of more than a century of unsustainable energy and land use, lifestyles and patterns of consumption and production. This report shows how taking action now can move us toward a fairer, more livable world.
Ayan mga kaibigan, ang latest IPCC report. Medyo pinost ko lang ng konti. Ayan mga kaibigan, no? Para ma-highlight, no?
Patterns of consumption and livable world.
Post ko yan mga kaibigan. Maliwanag, no? It's very clear. This report was prepared by 278 authors from 65 countries. Authors included over 18,000 publications in the report and considered 59,212 review comments from governments and experts, helping to make this a robust, relevant, and thorough assessment. Alam niyo guys, this is the problem, no? When you go online, sometimes, especially in Twitter, there are climate deniers that saying that this report is a junk, this is not true, there is no such thing as climate change. But the thing is, whether we face a climate disaster or not, making the world a better place, making it more livable is not a waste of time. That's what we have to remember. Hindi po kasobrahan, hindi pangit na pagandahin natin ang kinabukasan, na magtanim tayo ng mas maraming puno, na alagaan natin ang kalikasan, totoo man ito o hindi. Kasi para doon sa mga hindi naniniwala, sabihin yung useless yung ginagawa, hindi po useless. It's not useless to care for the future. It's not useless to care for the environment. Yung video po nakakapalabas lang. Of course mga kaibigan, ay pag-ulit na sinasabi, hindi na po ito sa amin. We are just sharing this video to you to let you know that there are things that are being done already to address the climate crisis, but we have to do more. Large countries that are emitters like China, Australia, the US needs to do more kasi sila po ang mga may kasalanan naman ito eh. We are suffering right now because of their heavy emissions, no, that's happening, no. Kaya kailangan itong mga areas of focus ng COP27 ay mangyari, no. Ito pong COP27 o Climate Change Conference of Parties, ayan, share natin, ay mangyayari, no, sa Egypt. Ayan, eto, ayan, no. 27th Conference of the Parties of the UNFCCC in Sharm El Sheikh, with a view to building on previous successes and paving the way for future ambition. So from Stockholm to Rio to Bali to Kyoto, Durban, Paris, Katowice, Glasgow, at ito nga, this is the 27th installment. Will this be another blah blah blah? Well, we never know. Ano mga kaibigan? Ano ba tong tinatawag na COP27 na ito? No? Ano bang mahalaga dito, mga kaibigan, sa mga pag-uusapan nila? Eto, let's watch this.
Most scientists agree that an increase of just 0.4 more degrees will drastically change the world.
And the world are dealing with record extreme heat.
Storms have been causing deadly floods.
You could have mass melting of ice sheets in Greenland and Antarctica.
If we don't act immediately, scientists say the consequences will be catastrophic.
3 degrees of warming is really disastrous.
Dealing with unprecedented heat waves and drought.
All day today, the rain falling so heavily and so quickly. $10 billion. But recovery funds are tight.
Rescuers doing everything they can to reach survivors.
Time. What if we could buy ourselves time? What if we could go back in time, undo what we've done, and start over? I say what if, because that is simply impossible. As the world moves forward at an unprecedented pace, we need to find ways to keep up with change and with time. For the past 4.5 billion years, planet Earth has been thriving, growing, and constantly evolving. And while we've only been around for thousands of years, some of what we've done is irreparable. Now, our planet needs our help, and we're running out of time. In today's rapidly warming world, the climate crisis won't wait for anyone. That's where you come in. You, the decision makers, the game changers, the forward thinkers, the first responders, you who make things happen and get things moving. You can help give the Earth a fighting chance. And the time to do so is right now. There's no extra time.
This is your chance to step up.
To turn pledges to action and put our future back on the right track.
So yan mga kaibigan, ang mangyayari sa Egypt, no? November 6 na magsisimula yan. Basahin natin ilang tweet naman mula naman kay climate activist leader Greta Thunberg. Anong sabi niya? Ito, napakaganda ng mga sinabi niya recently. Sabi niya, malakayan natin ng konti. A reminder, the people in power don't need conferences, treaties, or agreements to start taking real climate action. No? They can start today. They can start today. When enough people come together, then change will come and we can achieve almost anything. So instead of looking for hope, start creating it. So yun yung mga naging tweet niya in preparation for the COP27. Meron siyang latest tweet na talaga namang napaka nung sinabi niya, no? Eto, napakabigat na sinabi ni Greta. Here is what she said on October 20, no? Na it's hitting everyone, not only those in power, that every politician, everyone that's involved in green politics. She said, we should abandon the illusion that politicians will come to the rescue of planet Earth, especially those who delight in calling themselves climate leaders. Time and again, they have betrayed the faith that has been placed in them. Alam mo, the reason why Greta is saying this is because for a very long time, ang dami nang nakaumupo, they have the power to change, they have what they can do, but napakahirap gawin. Bakit mga kaibigan? Bakit mahirap gawin? Because this will have effects, no, to the life, to the economy, sa kasalukuyang ekonomiya natin. Ang pagbabago na kailangan natin gawin para sa kalikasan will create a different kind of economy. Because consumerism doesn't help a better future, a greener future. Consumerism is part of what's causing the problem of our planet. Huge food production is causing a problem for our planet. In fact, ito, diretsahan tayo, no? Yung mga tinatawag natin na buffet, anli, marami kang kumain. Diba? Ako, ginagawa ko rin yan minsan. Marami kang kumain. Kung tutusin, contributor ka rin sa carbon emission sapagkat ang production po ng sobrang daming pagkain, producing meat, especially meat, is one of the major causes din ng climate change sa global warming. At ito, direktang na-confirm ko ito mga kaibigan, sinabi rin sa akin to online, which is a very valid argument, no? If you want to change, no, if you really are for the environment, then you should stop using the internet. You should stop using your mobile phone. Why? No? Because data centers are the top cause of using of energy and carbon emission. Huge data centers that are keeping our data, excuse me, that are making it possible for the internet to run, is one of the major causes of a huge demand for power and energy. So, ibig sabihin, malaki ang contributor ng data center. So, no, we need really to change our mindset, to develop something new, to use, no, social media and the internet proactively, to do what we can, no? Small changes are better. Small changes being done by many people is, for me, I think it's better than, being so perfect done by one or two people. Dapat din natin tanggapin na hindi kaya lahat ng tao magbago ng sabay-sabay. Napakahirap nun. But the major task here is for the government, no? I think to create, dali lang, mula ako tubig. For the government to create proper policies and for the people, for the civil society organizations to support these policies. Lalo sa Pilipinas, isa po tayo sa major natatamaan ng mga epekto ng climate crisis. Kaya mahalaga, no, that the government right now really thinks about declaring a nationwide climate emergency through a climate emergency act. Yan dapat ang mas higit na pag-isipan kesa pag-isipan natin na iban ang mga Korean novela. Ha? Pinag-iisipan natin, ibaban ba natin ang K-drama o hindi? Pag-isipan natin, ano ba yung mga proyekto na mapapaghandaan natin para maayos yung ating agrikultura, maayos yung mga atatamaan ng climate crisis, mabigyan ng suporta yung mga magsasaka, that we can create future farmers, no? Hindi yung parang, pautangin pa natin itong mga magsasaka. O di lalala lang, no? Lalala lang yung problema. So, we need to really be proactive and to face the problem head-on by creating genuine and long-term solutions. Hindi yung parang makabalig na pag-uusapan natin, ghosting. O kaya, pag-isipan natin, cable car. Ganun, no? So, kailangan talaga na proactive yung ating mga gawin. Kailangan we need to really think more and we can help the government provide additional solutions, help our politicians out there. Itong pag-aaway-aaway natin at some point I'm thinking na nakakatulong ba talaga yung may faction tayo dito na ito faction ni ganito, faction ni ganyan. At some point I'm thinking parang sa panahon na marami tayong problema, baka pwede tayong magtulungan ang bawat isa, although we have issues that we do not forget about the past, but we will learn from it, we accept it, we apologize for the mistakes that we have. Problema, hindi tayo mga mag-apologize sa ating mga maling ginawa ng ating mga ninuno sa bansang ito, and instead, we are recruiting people to produce another side of the story. No? Pa-training pa, may mga pa-training pa. And meron pa creative communications. Let's accept it. Let's say sorry, no, for the wrongdoings. Accept, apologize, and move on together. That's the true spirit of unity that we need, no, for in facing this catastrophic, this existential threat that we are facing right now. So ano ba yung mga pag-uusapan, mga kaibigan, sa COP, no? COP 27, no? Ito, tingnan natin. So, mga kaibigan, yan ang mga topic na pag-uusapan, no? Napanood nyo kanina. Balikan natin, ha? Ito mamaya, babalikan natin yung ano yung mga pag-uusapan. Napakadami, no? Nawala yung ating video kanina. Balikan natin, no? So, may finance, no? November 9 na pag-uusapan, mga kaibigan, ay ang topic tungkol sa finance. Ayan. Ayan, mga kaibigan, ang mga pag-uusapang topic, no? Finance, November 9th. Then, Science, November 10th. Youth and Future Generations, then pag-usapan. Adaptation, on November 12th. Alternative Cellular Energy, wow. Gender. Biodiversity. Solutions. Human Settlement. ACE and Civil Society. Napakaganda nung topic na pinakita na human settlements. I think that's a very, very important topic because with the problem on housing, on climate migration, it is really important that the topic on human settlement should be discussed, no? Ano ba ang mangyayari kapag nagkaroon ng climate migration kasi maraming mga lulubog, paano ba ito isosolve? Pero higit kaya nauna yung finance is because people who cannot adapt, like those third world countries na wala naman talagang pondo, needs help, no? Kailangan po nila ng tulong para mabigyan ng aksyon etong mga pagkilos nito. On our next episodes on Boses ng Kalikasan, we will try to discuss more about COP27. I will try to invite a resource person, hopefully, na pwede pang pag-usapan kung ano mga expectations sa COP27. Probably someone from the Global Greens who wish to discuss, no, about COP27 and what to expect, no. This is a key factor that we need to prepare, and I understand that there are Filipinos and youth from the Philippines who will be there. Probably I could invite somebody from Climate Reality Leaders and talk about youth representatives who will be in Egypt. Yan mga kaibigan, no? So next week, pag-uusapan pa natin yan. Ano ba ito COP27? Ano ang mga mangyayari? At ano pa ang mga update sa kalikasan? Pero for now mga kaibigan, nagpapasalamat po tayo sa inyong patuloy na pagtangkilik at sa mga gusto mo support sa atin. Ladies and gentlemen, please do support our live shows, our advocacies, because we would like to really reach out to more people, go to more places. So sa mga gusto mo po sumuporta, you can send stars, of course, to our live broadcast. So you can also become one of our subscribers. So open na po yung subscription to our Facebook page, or you can also send your support to our GCash and PayMaya. It's below the screen. It's 0998-8830735 GCash or PayMaya. Sending of support ay more than welcome mga kaibigan, sapagkat yan po ay ating gagamitan naman for our advocacies for the environment at iba pang mga advocacy para makaalikha tayo ng mga educational and inspirational activities for the people na kailangan nating ma-target, no, mga kaibigan. At nagpapasalamat po ako sa lahat ng nagregalo sa akin ng birthday ko last October 16. Ganon din sa ating mga donors, especially kay sa ating kasama sa Green Party of the Philippines, sa NCR Greens, no? Maraming salamat. Trixie Yara, ayan, for sending in your donation, no, for our advocacy. Maganda, maraming salamat. At malaki po ang maitutulong niyan para sa atin. Siyempre, eto, hinihintay ko lang, no, yung ating ding mga sponsor, nagpapasalamat tayo sa kanila sapagkat hindi tayo nila iniiwanan, no? Lalong-lalo na itong Phil Global, yan. Phil Global Immigration Services, ayan. Dina Burst Ian Ranis, nakasama natin yan sa maraming advocacy. At sa mga, siyempre, mga kababayan natin dyan na gustong mag-aral, gustong pumunta sa abroad, malaki po ang maitutulong, no, ng kumpanyang ito sapagkat sila ay talaga namang maka-Pilipino, no? Kasi they are owned by Filipinos, run by Filipinos. At siyempre ito mga kaibigan, supportahan nyo rin yung business ng ating kasamahan na si PJ Arceliana ng GSC Chat. Ito.
Staging method maximizes the power of the purifier. Here's how. The purification starts with polypropylene pleated prefiltration. This accordion-shaped filter preps the water by removing large particulates such as dust, sand, and sediment. The second stage of purification forces water through a dense carbon block. This process is especially effective at removing organic contaminants, chemicals, chlorine, lead, and particulates. During stage 3, water passes through a special polyether sulfone membrane. This dense membrane is filled with microscopic pores ranging from 10 nanometers to 100 nanometers that trap a wide range of particles while letting water still flow unobstructed. The final stage of the ecosphere's purification process uses a cold cathode lamp UV light. Tap into the power of the ecosphere water purifier. Drink healthy with clean, safe water.
Ayan, mga kaibigan, maraming salamat. Supportahan po natin, of course, ang negosyo ng ating kasama na si BJ Arceliana. He also has his own show. It's called GSH Tracks. At syempre, sa pagtatapos ng ating programa, papasalamat tayo sa Bill Global Immigration Services, mga kaibigan. At syempre, next week, kita-kita po ulit tayo sa The Angelo Speaks. Tuwing Monday po yan, 5 p.m. At syempre, Boses ng Kalikasan, every Friday naman, 5 p.m. Ito po, mga kaibigan, ang inyong Kuya David at kasama sa Kalikasan, kasama ninyo, pagpapatuloy natin sa mga usapin na mahalaga sa bayan. At sa mga gusto pa-shoutout, comment lang kayo. O sa mga gusto kayo pag-usapang topic, message lang po ang ating page. Maraming salamat po. Hanggang next time. Paalam! Happy weekend, mga kaibigan! Bye-bye!
The Managing Director of Phil Global Immigration Services Corporation, Mr. Bert Ian Granis.
So, mayong hapon sa atong tanan. I'm originally from Bohol, so I'm very proud of that, and welcome to our 8 years anniversary of Phil Global Immigration. So let me just tell you a story as to how we started. So it all started when I was 24 years old. That was 10 years ago, mas sexier pa, and was like a dreamer like you guys. So nagsimula yun kasi I also attended an expo, an orientation to go abroad. But apparently 10 years ago, hindi pa uso yung mga magagandang agency na talagang handang tumulong at ayusin yung mga buhay nila. So, ang nangyari, I went to Australia, I arrived there, pag-contact ko sa hospital because I'm a registered nurse, apparently, wala pong trabaho, wala pong aral. So, napabalik sa Pilipinas, 200,000 gone. Kasi average pricing ng agency dati was 150,000 eh. So when that happened, a lot of things and a lot of struggle. Luckily naman ay nakapagtapos, pero out of 50 namin na estudyante that time, imagine, 3 lang kami na nakaswitch ng visa. Why? Because agencies back time in the Philippines doesn't really care. So simula noon, it was part of Phil Global's advocacy already, na talagang if ever gagawin namin to, we will help you from the point of your membership hanggang sa pag-alis nyo. Your airport pickup will be care of Phil Global, making sure na dadalhin ka sa tamang bahay nyo. Then we will help you get your spouses, because spouses can work unlimited full-time in Canada and Australia. They can earn 300,000 pesos. Ang ginagawa kasi ng ibang Pinoy, what they do is, ang maling ginagawa ng Pinoy is, umaalis, and then ginagamit ang tourist visa, na-offload sa NAIA, nagtatry na umalis ulit. Pagdating doon sa ibang bansa, ang sweldo, 30,000, around 40,000. But what will happen in the Middle East, most especially, we are not really treated like same sa kanila. We're like second-class citizens. Even if we work there for 20, 30 years, hindi tayo magkaroon ng papel. So, ang goal namin sa Phil Global is to give you the advocacy of study, to work, and to live abroad. And lahat naman tayo dito ay gustong bumalik sa Pilipinas kasi masaya naman dito eh. We have the comfort of our family. So tumutulong din kami ngayon as to how you can come back to the Philippines and build your new businesses. That's why we launched earlier FG Cash, kasi FG Cash will also be your financial friend to help you set up your businesses once you come back and get capital. So again, with Phil Global, ang gusto namin na sasabihin is lahat sana po ay magtatapos. Lahat po ay magkakatrabaho, and lahat po tayo ay magtatagumpay. So salamat po at magandang araw sa ating lahat.
Pinoy ako at kayo ang kakampi ko. Ito ang TVC8.